In today's episode, I am sitting down with an old mission companion and we are reading through your crazy mission experiences, both the good and the bad. In 2023, there were over 72,000 missionaries serving around the world in over 150 countries, teaching in over 60 languages. It's pretty wild to me that we all volunteer for similar reasons to teach people about Jesus Christ and his gospel, and yet have such different experiences. And today's stories will just prove that point. Welcome to Blonde Apologist. Hello and welcome to Blonde Apologist.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Emma Brown is with us today. So Emma and I were companions on the mission. We served in the Canada Vancouver mission.
Yes.
And it was the best.
The best.
We had
literally an 18-month vacation is how I describe it.
We had such positive experiences.
Yes.
And after reading all these submitted stories, I'm like, wow, my mission was cushy.
No, like bougie. Like,
yes,
so good. Like, even my husband served in Ghana. Like, the way we couldn't have more opposite missions.
Yeah, horrible.
And like, the worst thing I ate my whole mission was like a mediocre bowl of spaghetti. He was eating cat.
Oh my god.
Cat stew was his favorite thing he
God
ate.
knew we couldn't do that.
No, like loved our mission. We had such good experiences.
And I feel like I'm so quick to encourage someone to go on a mission.
Yes.
And here I am reading these stories and thinking like, do I want my daughters to go on a mission? Like, I'm like, my son could probably handle this.
No, I get it. Like, it is hard to hear like sad stories or people who didn't love their mission, because truly, like, at the end of my mission, I was like, I would do that all over again. Like restart my 18 months. Like, I loved it. I loved it. So I recognize that you and I are probably pretty unique in this regard, but blessed and grateful nonetheless.
Okay, well, to start, before we get into the stories, I had people submit stories on social media, and we got lots of them. And if you're listening, I couldn't even get through all of them. So if we don't hear your story, I'm sorry. I promise I'm reading all of them. And there might be another episode that I do with my husband because there's so many.
Yes.
And he can have an elder's perspective or something.
That would be good.
But before we get into everyone's stories, would you be willing to share like why you decided to go on a mission and how you made that decision?
Yes, 100%. So I, like, all through high school, like, was kind of the girl that like preached, why wouldn't you go on a mission? Like, to me, it just like made so much sense. I thought it would be a great life experience, and I just always thought I wanted to go. So I'm young for like my grade, I guess. When I was in high school, my birthday's at the end of July, so I knew that I could go and do a whole year of school before I had to like really make the decision whether I wanted to get out to go. And so I went and did a year of school, and during that time obviously had fun, but really like wasn't thinking about my mission like super heavily because I was having so much fun. I was at Utah State. I was up in Logan and loved it. Then it kind of got the time where I had turned 19, so I could go, but I had like really cold feet, and I had felt like I still wanted to go, but it was like making the decision to actually go that was the hardest part for me.
And it was now time.
Yeah, and it was time I could go.
Yeah.
And so I ended up like having an interview with my bishop. I had helped out at my ward's girls camp that summer, and like told my bishop when he came up for testimony night, I said, I want to meet with you when we get home, because I just want to like talk through this decision and see if it's for me and what you think. And so in my interview with him, I told him and like got really emotional that I felt like I like wanted to go and that I like should go, but that it was making the decision that scared me the most. And he just got like super emotional and was like, I think like you know what you should do. And at that time, I like knew, like the Spirit hit me so hard, and it was like, yeah, like you're should
supposed
go.
to go.
Yeah. So this is the worst part. After I had that interview with my bishop, I postponed again. I decided to do a semester of school at UVU. So like switched schools, did another semester because I was just having the hardest time making this decision. And anyone who knows me, I literally hate making decisions. So finally I was just like, you know what, I'm going to start preparing to go. And a little tender mercy that I had is that this is so like stupid but little, and it was like, it meant a lot to me at the time, but I couldn't figure out how to get logged into my LDS account to like start filling out my papers. Like, it was taking me forever. I like couldn't figure out what username or email or like what how. So one day I like came home from school and I was like, hey, I'm like gonna figure this out. And I just like guessed my username, guessed my password, because I set it up when I was like 12. They do it when you're like a beehive or whatever. So I just guessed my username, guessed my password, and it like signed me in right away. And I was like, oh, flip. Was this a sign?
You're like, God wants me to go.
Literally. So I started getting like, I had logged in and everything, and it was actually General Conference weekend that I had done that. So I went into General Conference weekend with just the question in my mind, like, should you go? Which is hilarious because I feel like I had already received my answer, but of course just wanted like all the verification that I was really supposed to go. And in between the morning and afternoon session on Sunday, like, I had filled out my papers. Like, I got my answer during conference. Like, for the first time thinking about a mission, I didn't worry about what I was missing out on. I didn't worry about where I would go or how I would do. I just felt so much peace. So in between, like, the 2-hour break from morning session to afternoon session, I had filled out my papers and submitted them. So, and then I got my call. And I reported to the MTC 6 weeks from the day I got my call. So I think God knew that I had like made my decision, and so he wasn't going to give me time to like second guess my decision.
Get her out there.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I've told you enough times, that I need you out there. So it was like a really fast process, and ultimately it came down to like I believed that what I had been taught was true, and I saw how much it blessed my family and blessed my own life, and how grateful I was to have a Heavenly Father to turn to and a Savior to have my back and to carry me through hard times growing up, that I decided that I wanted to go even tell just one person about that, because I had realized how much it had blessed my life, and I really wanted to just give that to someone else. I had felt like I owed it to Heavenly Father. Like, I have a good life. I've been blessed to have the gospel in my life always, and have really great parents who raised me in the gospel and always made sure I knew those things. So I wanted to go give that to someone else.
Yeah.
So.
And that's totally how I felt too, right?
Yeah.
What you were saying at the end. It's like I felt the same. Like, I had been given so much, and I recognized that my blessings came because of the gospel that I had in my life and my family had. And so just that desire to go share it with one person, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're the best.
They are the best.
But some people have hard experiences.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it wasn't hard.
No,
oh my gosh.
Like, yeah, the crap that you go through on your
crap
mission.
that you go through.
Yeah.
It's funny because for me, I never really prayed to ask if I should go on a mission.
Yeah.
I just always wanted to go.
Yeah,
so I'm
that's
like,
great.
I'm going to go.
Yeah, yes.
And my patriarchal blessing didn't really talk about it.
Yeah.
And then I got into the MTC and I'm like, this sucks.
Which is crazy because in the MTC I was like, she's got it figured out. I remember thinking that about you. Like, this girl was made for this. Like, I never would have guessed that you were
seriously
struggling.
was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be on a missionary. And I got on my knees in the MTC and I'm like, if I'm supposed to be here, you have to answer this question now or I'm going home. And it's so funny because my dad didn't want me to go.
Yeah,
like, he was
my mom was
protective
the
of me.
same
And he
way.
was like, literally my first email, he emailed me the first week and he's like, if you want me to come pick you up, you let me know. And I'm like,
there.
will you come pick me up?
That's not like a quick drive. That's
No.
like him coming
get on
all
the
the way
plane.
from the other side of the country.
So yeah, it was... No, but it was good. And I got
Yeah.
my answer in the MTC
Yeah.
that I was supposed to stay.
I'm glad you did.
But let's just be clear that it is hard.
No, 100%.
And I often give the advice. I'm like, I would not trade my mission for the world.
Yeah.
But you could not pay me enough money to go relive it again.
Yeah. That's funny because
You want to go back.
literally at the end of my mission, I remember, so I was in a, what do they call those? Not a trio. Is it a trio?
Yeah, a trio.
Okay, yeah. I was in a trio, but we were also sharing the apartment with Spanish sisters.
Okay.
And they're like helping me pack my bags to get ready to go. And I was like, you guys, legit, I could do this again. Like, and they were like, I'm pretty sure that means like you didn't give it your all. I'm like, no, like I swear on my life, like I left it out here. Like I
Yes,
feel like
you
I did what I
100%
came to
did.
do. But I loved it so much and knew already in that moment how much that 18 months would mean for the rest of my life that I was like, I want to do it again. Like, this meant so much to me. I just loved my mission.
Like,
so
I'm
much.
not kidding. I've had nightmares where I'm like getting called to go back on my mission.
Oh my gosh, sister.
But like, I here I am saying I loved it.
Yes,
But I'm
no,
like,
yeah, I get it.
Okay, well, now that you guys know a little bit of our story,
Yes.
and I'm sure we'll share more about our missions
Yeah.
throughout these stories, but let's get into some of your guys' submissions. I'm going to start with some light-hearted ones.
Yeah.
Okay, this one says, one time I walked into one of the same-sex bathrooms and there was an elder sitting on the throne who forgot to lock the door.
Wait, time out. What are the odds that you'd walk into the same-sex bathroom, but an elder's like?
They must have been
Is
at,
it-
like,
yeah, like I'm like, where are you?
That's so true.
Please tell
Why
me.
are you hanging out with the elders?
Literally, like, what are the? Because churches don't, unless you're like meeting in a makeshift church building.
Yeah, maybe
I
they're at a
wouldn't
campus.
guess
I would
that-
say it was probably a campus.
Yeah, you're probably right.
She says that when I told my companion, she laughed so hard that she peed her pants.
Bless.
That would so happen to me.
That's so good. That, you know, who's more traumatized than her is that poor elder. Thinks about it weekly. I guarantee. It's like, oh my gosh, that's so good.
Okay, this one says, so I was training for my first time. I was so excited. I was fluent in the language, I was comfortable in my area, and I was an STL. My trainee, for some reason, questioned everything I did, and she would call the zone leaders all the time to make sure I was doing it right.
No.
Every time they told her I was correct.
Oh my.
That just sounds horrible. She
No.
goes on to say that she needed to have a haircut,
Okay.
and she says that she asked her companion to help her with this small trim. This
Okay.
was my first mistake. I showed her the length of how much I wanted off, and she said she understood and agreed. I stood facing the mirror so I could see what she was doing, but before I could say anything, she grabbed the whole left side of my hair and chopped it right to the middle of my ears.
Payback. That was payback.
I was shocked and asked her what she was doing, and she said that she thought that's what I wanted. I would cry.
No,
I would literally
because-
get in a physical fight with her. I'd be sitting home for that.
Ready to duke it out. Get sent home for beating up her companion for a bad haircut. No, that feels like sabotage. Like, I'm not saying I know this girl, but that felt like personal. Like, that's crazy.
Well, she totally like had it out for her. She was like questioning everything she did.
Yes.
Like,
no,
hello.
that's crazy. Maybe she just thought that you would look really cute with a bob.
She hated you.
Yeah, it was so personal.
Okay, this guy says, my companion really wanted to hunt on our mission. We were in Iowa. I was very new to the mission, so I didn't see a huge abnormal thing. But he brought a game camera and set it up at the church, and he made us put all of our food out so that he could watch for the deer to come.
Oh.
He then insisted that we borrow a member's bow and arrow and shoot the deer without a hunting license. Luckily, I stopped him from doing that.
Yep.
But anytime we would see squirrels on the road, he would try to hit them. There were multiple times when he skinned squirrels and gave them to missionaries.
It's giving serial killer.
I hate that.
I'm sorry. That's one of the things that you're just gonna have to sacrifice coming on your mission is skinning squirrels for hobby. Taxidermist? What on earth?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
that was what the Lord needed you to sacrifice for your 2 years, and he couldn't even do it. That's barbaric.
That is so funny.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This girl says, let's see, elders? Yeah, this is a sister. She said, my trainer and I were whitewashing an elder area, and the other elders that were in the neighboring ward would not leave us alone.
Oh boy.
At first, when they asked if we could help them to do some yard work or service projects, we would say yes. But after many times, they kept asking us weeks in advance. And we'd say no because we really wanted to grow our area and
Yeah.
work to build trust with the members.
Yeah.
They would say stuff like, well, it's in 3 weeks. You don't have anything planned.
What? Like
Like
a
they're
double
literally
date
trying to date.
situation?
Yes, I'm like reading this. I'm like, you do realize like they wanted to just go on dates
This
with
wasn't
you.
naive, sister. They weren't genuinely just trying to help you. They were trying. They had their own selfish motives.
She goes on to say that she ended up talking to the mission president about it, and like he
Good.
told them to stop. But she's like,
Good.
when I was talking to the mission president about it, I just broke down crying, and she's like, why did I cry? And I'm like, because you didn't think you had to be rejecting dudes on your mission.
Literally, but also when you're on your mission, just you're on the verge of every heightened emotion ever. So
So
when
true.
she felt that, she
Yes.
just like had to release. There were so many times where I'd just be like, out of nowhere, unwell. Like,
I feel like one of my harder transfers was my first transfer
Because
with
of
you.
me.
No, you saved me.
not even, yeah.
But I remember just being like, I just had a flashback to me putting the fire under my butt. Do you remember?
No, because I literally was gonna bring that up today. No, I wrote that down. That's what I was gonna say. Okay, so as I was going through all my crap last night, one of the things I'm the most grateful that I did through my mission, I kept like a really good weekly email, and it was mostly, that was my journal.
Yeah,
And
same.
I am so grateful that I have all those emails.
too.
But a little thing that I had is I just had this like tiny little notebook. I actually brought it with me. And I would just write down the funny crap that happens, like with companions that I was with.
Yeah,
and I
that's
wrote
so
down that
fun.
story of you. I read it last night. It was like
Yeah,
after
please
a
tell me.
personal. No, here's what it was. Okay.
'Kay.
In great detail. It was after a personal prayer. You told me you were like, I just like had a beat down in that personal prayer. Like I feel so bad about everything. And I was like, well, don't, like, you're doing great. Like, why are you, what is
Oh my
happening? And you're
gosh.
like, no, it put a little fire under my butt. And then I wrote like that you made a fire noise with a fire under your butt.
Oh my gosh. I just like that memory of us laying in bed and me telling you
It was
that.
just like, I have a fire under my butt.
And I
The
did,
fire
okay?
noise.
And it was good.
No, it was good, but the emotions are unreal.
This person says they ended up shutting down this part of my husband's mission. But before they did, there were 2 elders who went to a different church so that their investigator would then come to church with them. It was a you go to church. It was a we'll go
Okay.
to your church,
Yeah.
you go to our church deal.
Yeah.
While the elders were there, during their meeting, without them knowing, they performed a ceremony and baptized the elders into the church. The next day, the newspaper had published an article, Mormon missionaries find the truth. Like there had to be a language barrier.
doing the exact opposite of what you're supposed to be doing on a mission. Spreading their gospel.
my
That's so
God.
crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, you're right. There had to have been a language barrier. How do you get baptized without, like, is that sprinkling at that point? Like, how would you have fully been like, I just got
I
baptized?
could see them, yeah, it had to have been a sprinkle. I could see them thinking it was like a prayer
Yeah,
of blessing
yes,
placed upon them. And they're
totally.
like, yes,
That's true.
thank you.
Yes, yeah, that's so true.
No.
Living in the moment. Oh my gosh. That reminds me of the worst. I don't know anything about tea. At least I didn't. I'm like fully teaching this girl in my first area with my trainee, like my little trainee, about like the gospel. And she made us black tea. Drank 2-3 cups. I was
this
so,
happened to me, too.
I was like, when we teach her the word of wisdom, she's gonna be like,
This happened to me in my first transfer
Yes.
because I didn't know.
no, yeah,
And in British Columbia, they offer you tea all the time.
all the time.
And I was like, oh, you're so nice. Like,
Yeah.
I would be rude to decline
Yeah.
it. And even more rude to be like, what kind
Yeah.
of tea is this?
No, exactly. Because I knew that we could have some tea.
Yes.
And
most
now
of the
I
time it
know
was
it's-
herbal. So.
Yeah, yes, most of the time it was.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're not gonna be like, sorry, what tea is this that you made for us today? Like,
I know.
actually
On your
can't have
first
this.
meeting.
Yeah, because we're teaching her about God is your loving heavenly Father.
I'm
I'm
not-
not gonna get into actually we can't have this tea because this guy named Joseph Smith, he said we can't have it. I know.
They're like, what is this
Yes,
called?
literally.
I'm not
yes.
gonna lie. There were times where I pretended to drink tea. I'm
Oh,
not
smart.
even kidding.
See, that's what I should have done, but I didn't.
Because it was always
I
given
was
to
like
us.
2-3
I'm like,
cups
"Thank you,
later,
that is so nice."
and my trainee walks out after, and she's like, "I'm pretty sure that was black tea." I was like,
Oh
"Really?"
my gosh.
So bad.
That's, I mean,
But at
it
least
is
we
what
didn't
it
get
is.
baptized. That's good. At least I never got baptized in someone else's
So
church.
true.
That's so bad.
Okay. This is a letter of the law versus spirit of the law conversation.
That's a
So-
toughie conversation. Too.
I know. And so let's read her story and we can talk about it a little
Okay,
bit
yeah.
because it is hard. She says, my companion and I were knocking doors. My companion starts talking with the mom as 3 boys come rushing out to play soccer. I quickly noted that I was not part of the conversation and decided to join the boys and play soccer. This went on for about 20 minutes. I played soccer with young boys while my companion talked to the mom right there in the lawn. Keep in mind, we were very close to each other. I could hear the whole conversation and see each other the whole time. As we were leaving, the boys asked when I could come back and play with them again, and we asked their mom if we could return, and we agreed on a time when we could come and meet. Great.
Cute.
A wonderful.
Yeah, I feel like that's good.
She said, I was so excited.
Yeah.
I finally made my first connection on the mission.
Yeah, cute.
She said, wrong. My companion was furious with me. She claimed that I had left her alone, which I guess was kind of true. But I could still see her and I could hear everything that was going on. I spent the next hour being chastised about the importance of staying right next to her. And I got chewed out for the many days to come. I'm not claiming to be a perfect missionary, but I thought what I did on that day was good. We met a new family, we developed a relationship with them, and they invited us back. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
During the rest of the time in that area, we continued to visit the family multiple times. We played soccer and we talked about God. My mom even sent the little boys Christmas presents of soccer jerseys.
Stop it. Cute.
So she says, to me, this is what the mission was about, creating memories with people and coming to love them.
Yeah.
She just says, I eventually transferred from the area, but she still stays in contact with this family. And after she got transferred, 3 years later, the boys all got baptized in the church.
Girl. Work
And I still keep in
done.
contact with this family.
Yep. You did it. Like, that was perfect. Because even now that I'm a mom, I'm thinking about it from a mom perspective. My 3 boys that are probably pretty crazy, high energy, are running out of the house. I'm not focused on what you're saying. I'm focused on my 3 boys not like running into the street or getting hit by cars or whatever.
Totally.
So to me, I'm like, that was a good move for like her to be able to focus on what she's talking about.
So true.
Like, and you
also, she's not breaking any rules there.
No, like,
unless they had a no soccer rule, which it doesn't say that they did.
No, like that was just maybe a little bit of a crazy companion moment where she was feeling high stress. I don't know. That letter and spirit of the law is so, like, I didn't know what that was until I went on my mission. I was like, letter of the law, spirit of the law. And like, you have to kind of have that conversation a lot of times with your companions where it's like, where does the truth or the good answer lie in this? You know what I mean? It's hard to know.
And because it can't be defined, missionaries struggle with it all the time. And I honestly think it comes down to a maturity thing.
Yeah.
If you are a mature missionary, you understand when that line falls.
Yes. Especially because I feel like we served in a mission where our mission president made our mission very letter of the law in a lot of the ways. Like, we served in a mission that was extremely, like, I don't want to say strict, but maybe like obedient.
Totally.
So we could only listen to the Tabernacle Choir and EFY music, which like to me was like so strict. So I think it's hard because when you serve in missions where it feels really letter of the law, like whereas my brother just got home from his mission in Louisiana and he said that his mission president said as long as it helps you feel the spirit, you can listen to whatever you want.
Yeah.
So he's like listening to like pop music, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
And that's just like so different. So I think in missions where it's really letter of the law, I think missionaries can take it to like everything is letter of the law. And so I think honestly, like, the spirit of the law is just exactly what it says it is. It's the little bit of, it's the wiggle room that you get where the spirit can help guide you.
No, that's good.
You have to be open to the spirit of the law while you're a missionary, or else you will not get everything done that the spirit needs you to. Like, in my opinion, I don't know. Maybe that's bad advice.
I know, it's just hard. It's like, if I was a mission president, I don't know how I would teach that.
Yeah.
You know, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Our mission really was so obedient. When I hear disobedient stories, I'm like shook. Because I'm like, you would never have gotten away with that.
No, literally never. This is all reminding me of a story, too, of my husband, who I said, like, served in Ghana. And he, for the first time, had gotten called to be a zone leader. So gets to the area. The guy who's supposed to be training him to be a zone leader is like, oh, by the way, this he was like either a recent convert or an investigator. He's like, he's living with us. And I was like, okay. Like, Parker's just like, okay, like, whatever you say. But, like, they didn't have a third bed or anything. So this zone leader that was supposed to be training Parker is sharing a bed, which I should say he's a male. Like, the recent convert was a male. Not that that makes it okay that they're sharing a bed.
Well,
but, yeah.
doesn't mean anything.
No. So this, like, recent convert investigator is, like, sharing an apartment with Parker and his new guy who's supposed to be training him to be his own leader. And Parker's like, I just showed up. Like, I'm not questioning. Like,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that you're a zone leader, so like everything you're doing is like really like you probably got clearance from this somehow from someone. And the APs ended up showing up and going on splits with them and found out about this investigator living with them in their apartment and just reamed Parker and was like, you know better, like what
He was
are
like,
you
I
thinking?
did, but I was
Yeah, he was
confused.
like, I didn't know, like, yeah, whether to question this or not. Like, I assumed he got approval, but like, also, why are you getting mad at me? Like, I hope you're getting like triple mad at that guy who's been sharing a bed with this person.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's so funny because like you'd love to give that guy the benefit of the doubt
yeah,
and be like,
in
he
his
had
mind-
probably good intentions.
Totally.
But it's also just like, where is the brain? Like, was the brain braining? Like, you gotta
Yeah,
be
I don't
thinking.
think so.
No, it's not. It's bad.
Okay, this one is a little bit inappropriate.
But bring it on, baby.
We're gonna say this is PG-13, so everyone hang on.
I love it.
They said, I had a psycho trainer who loved to make me sing all the time. Which
Kill me.
I had a psycho companion who made me sing all the time. Which, did you sing a lot on your mission?
Made you sing? Like in Sacrament?
No, well, first off, yes. I
Okay.
sang way too much on my mission.
Same. I thought
I'm not
I was
a singer.
like, I think the Lord blessed me with lungs on this mission, is what I literally.
Me too. I literally
No, I can't
Sing
sing worth
at
crap.
every baptism.
I'm actually tone deaf, like legitimately, and
Do you think we really were blessed to sing better
I
on our
don't know.
missions?
Here's what I will say: I've never sang more in my life than on my mission.
I know.
I mean, maybe we were better at singing on our mission, but
Well,
bad.
Were you in the YSA? I don't think you were. I think it was me and Sister Steele when we
Yeah.
sang at a YSA baptism with the elders. And in the middle of the song, one of the elders came in and started singing the wrong words. And we all started laughing. And I literally, in front of everyone, I go, stop, we are done.
Wait, I feel like I remember you telling me this. I was not there for that, but I remember.
And it was the most embarrassing moment
Yes.
of my life.
No.
And then I'm like, let's start over.
No, one thing that I do remember about me and you. Okay, I actually wrote this down in my funny book. The Berts, our mission presidents, invited us to go caroling with them for some reason.
Okay.
So me and you tried to learn the alto parts of all the Christmas. So we could impress
I probably made you do that.
No, because one time I do remember, apart from the caroling, you and I had to sing a song for like Christmas because we were together over Christmas. So we were in a YSA. So it was like a couple of YSA had like roped us into singing with them.
Of course.
I don't know how to sing. I don't know how to, what do you call that?
I had
Harmonize?
Harmonize,
I don't
yeah.
know how to do that. I just know how to sing exactly like an octave lower of the exact same. So I remember you being like, I didn't know that though until you taught me. You were like, Sister Cheller, harmonizing is not just singing an octave lower. I was like,
And the only reason why I knew that is because
Yes.
Sister Jenkins and I practiced it all the time. I'm dying.
so good.
So, yeah, so she says we had to sing all the time.
Yeah.
They are door knocking. She says we would knock doors, and when people open, start singing I'm a child of God,
No.
which I will forever beg forgiveness for.
There's jump scare.
Again, I have to apologize. This is a little inappropriate. But she says we unfortunately started singing, and instead of this guy slamming the door, he stares at us and looks at us like he's really into us. And as if that wasn't creepy enough, he got this crazy erection. The craziest I had seen, and he was wearing these gym shorts. And he just stared at us, and we continued to sing the second verse. My trainer was adamant that it was a no reason boner, but I ended up being correct in assuming that he was a freak because he later texted us and said, I really wish I could have looked up your skirts.
Okay, jail time for this male. You need to send the cops to this guy's house immediately.
And like, here's the thing. As sisters, we do have these experiences.
Yeah, 100%, where guys are just ew.
I got proposed to multiple times on my
That's
mission.
what I was gonna say. I was thinking about that last night. Did you get like almost emergency transferred out of an area because a guy became obsessed with you?
No. He became obsessed with me after I got transferred. Well,
Which
that's when he
bless.
started emailing me. And then when I moved
Yes.
home, he started sending me the most scary emails, you guys, he would say stuff like, God has told me that you
No.
are my wife. And if you do not listen to this revelation,
You will be condemned by God, and our future children will haunt you.
No. Terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
so as a sister missionary,
It happens.
you have to, and that's why you're in a companionship.
Yeah.
And don't be naive.
Yes.
Like, don't just try to downplay stuff. If
No.
you feel uncomfortable for a second,
Yes.
get out of there. And a lot of these stories,
Yes.
people start with, I had this uncomfortable feeling. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's all it takes.
No, literally, that's
Get
the spirit
out of
being
there.
gone, just so you know. That uncomfortable
100%.
feeling. Yes, that's not just you being crazy or
Yeah.
paranoid.
And
like,
people are like, I got this weird vibe from them. I'm like, that's it.
yeah, bye.
But I think sometimes as missionaries, you're so desperate to find that
It's
golden
true.
investigator that you're like,
It's
I'm going
true.
to keep entertaining this for a little bit.
It's true. But I will say, if your companion ever, I mean, obviously this is for like future missionaries, but if your companion ever has an uncomfortable feeling, like I said, that's the spirit gone. So like, don't discredit your companion feeling that way. If they're
Totally.
voicing it to you, which already is probably uncomfortable for them to like work up the courage to do, don't discredit it, follow it. Like, that's, God's not punishing you for, like, he's not gonna be mad
No.
if you have an uncomfortable feeling or you don't feel safe. Like, follow that. Like,
No,
it's just,
yes.
don't think that you were sent there to
Let's always go on the safe side.
yes, yeah, just use your brains, let the spirit guide. That's so bad. Poor girl.
Well, and this one is a little bit worse.
Oh, then the no reason boner one? Oh, I can't get over that. She's like, no, sister, it's a no reason.
Wait, where is it?
That discussion. I would have loved to have been in the backseat of that vehicle when they talked about it.
Okay. So the sister missionary said she served during COVID, so she had to be on Facebook and social media a lot
Yeah.
during her mission.
That's tough.
They met this guy in her new area, and he started messaging them all the time. We found out later that he had been excommunicated for harassing women, so that's a
lovely.
good little insight there. The messages he was sending were quickly escalating to inappropriate messages and basically being obsessed with my companion. It escalated to him messaging our mission president and the stake presidency in our area every day to tell them that he was going to perform sexual acts on her.
That is horrific.
Okay, so let's be clear. The mission president and the stake presidents know about this
Wait,
guy,
if
right?
you're about to tell me that nothing happened,
She said, I won't go into too much detail, but he somehow found out where we lived, and he would wait outside our apartment for hours. He also had a copy of our key. He had a copy of the church key, and when we were there, he would show up. We did not feel safe at all and expressed to our mission president, who told us that the Spirit had confirmed to her that she was going to be fine. It
wait,
wasn't
the
until...
mission president told her that the spirit said to him that she would be fine.
Yeah.
Oh.
She was going to say it wasn't until her parents got involved and
Good.
told the church legal department
Good.
that the mission president was forced to emergency transfer her and her companion out.
No, I'm sorry, because why wouldn't you? Like, it's not an inconvenience to, like, emergency, like, it can't be that hard to emergency transfer someone, right?
No, it's so sad.
Or, like, move them to different housing. Like, that's just so, to me, I'm like, where was the
Naive.
logic?
So
Yeah.
naive.
That is just, like, if something bad would have happened, which honestly sounds like it was tracking that way,
Yeah.
not saying exactly what would have happened, like, like that stuff is so bad. Like, that's just when you're like, where is the logic? Like, who is
So that made me sad.
that's really sad. I hate that for her. That's just that's just the ickiest feeling. Like, that's so gross. I'm so sorry.
And maybe I'll share a little bit more about bad mission presidents. But this, I just like what this girl says here. First off, she starts with saying, I'm not sure if other people, and especially girls, feel this way, but a lot of my trauma for my mission stems from my mission president.
Sad.
It's a sad start.
Yeah.
My mission president liked to set people up within the mission, and he would literally tell missionaries who to go out with when they got home.
Don't love that.
Did President Burt do that, though?
Not to me. He's like, girl, I ain't setting you up with none of these elders.
Like, you saying that just brought this memory in my head of, like, he did say that.
Here's what he told me. Don't make out with your tongue when you go home.
Oh, my gosh. I am so glad you brought this up because I needed to confirm it with someone.
Yes. Don't lay down. No. Here's what it was.
No, it
he
gets
said
worse.
he'd give me cold
No.
hard cash at my wedding if I didn't make out with someone with my tongue.
I know, and I love him, but what was
No.
he thinking?
Literally, you want to know how long that lasted me?
The first kiss?
Literally.
Yeah,
I'm
same.
like so bad, but
No.
like That's where I feel like stuff that people say, I'm just like, that's so not right. Like, that's not why I came. That's not what you needed to say to me. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yes. And it's so important to have personal revelation and have your own relationship with God.
Yes.
If you're having a relationship through these leaders in the church, then it's going to be rocked.
Yes.
Like, you're going to be rocked by stuff by
you've
this.
talked about this either last week or the week before, but it's so true. Yes, you got to have your own personal revelation with everything that comes.
So she goes on to say, and this is what I really like. She says that she had all these struggles. It really gave her trust issues with church leaders. She had bishops lying. She had people lying about baptisms. Her mission president was really, she says, psychologically abusive.
Dang.
And so she really struggles with church leadership. And she said, and by all means, my mission should have made me leave the church, but I do not regret it one bit. And if anything, my testimony of Jesus Christ and his gospel is strong because this is Christ's church. Christ's church is true.
I love that.
Even though a lot of people in the church try to prove that it's not.
That shows like true conversion right there. That she, through her mission, became converted to the gospel of Jesus Christ and not like
the gospel of President.
Yes, President so-and-so. Or whoever your companion is that's pulling you along. Like, I feel like that's, to me, like, that's the type of member that's gonna last, you know what I mean, through it all, and be able to turn around and like teach children that, or teach their young women when they're young women president that, like that it's not just who you surround yourself with in their testimonies or what someone tells you.
It's not your bishop's church.
Yeah, that's true conversion right there. That's crazy that after all that she was able to.
So I wanted to share that.
Yeah, that's so good.
And I'm sorry for your mission presidents.
No, that's right. And let's just say, leaving your family for 3 years to do something not paid. Oh, I'm talking about mission presidents.
Okay, yes, I'm like 3 years.
Like, let's be so for real.
Yeah, true.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Like, that's tougher than 2 years or 18 months. That's, you're definitely missing maybe some of your grandchildren being born, or your kids being married, or like with tough mission presidents, yes, all mission presidents should, some could definitely be better, but that's tough stuff.
Totally.
Like, you think about what you sacrifice as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old, whatever. Like, yeah, there's sacrifices you're making, but when you've established a family and you're being asked to move away for 3 years unpaid, like, that's tough stuff.
Yeah, it gives me empathy real fast.
Yes, yeah, that's tough.
This sister says, my district leader, who I had just met that week, said he had a dream about us in the ceiling room getting married. So he asked me if I had any boys at home and if I needed to cut things off.
Wait, that is mean, because then you have to serve the whole rest of your mission.
I would tell the mission president, I'd be like, get him away from me. This one is fun. This one I like a little bit more, but it's still a little unhinged.
Okay, let's hear it.
She says, I always thought I wouldn't go on a mission because I'm shy and I wouldn't be me. So I remember praying and telling God he better have a really good reason for me to go on a mission. Well, I got my patriarchal blessing this summer after high school, and it said that I would meet my husband on my mission.
Oh.
So of course I went.
Oh.
I would look through all of the transfer boards, take a look at all of the elders, and wonder which one it was.
That's so good. She's like, so I don't really care about teaching the gospel. She's like, what I'm trying to do is find my husband.
That is so true. In my second to last area, my companion decided to go home, and at the same time, an elder in our district decided to go home. They weren't related in any way, but she says they were both emergency transferred, and a new sister and a new elder came in, and that's how I met him.
Yes, I was like, please tell me.
That was his last area. He finished his mission,
gosh,
and I went home the next transfer.
Wait, that's crazy. It literally was like,
we are married now and have 2 kids.
Oh, I can't. I love it. I think that's so great, actually.
I know.
That's so crazy. Also, though, when patriarchs put stuff like that in patriarchal blessings, I'm like, but hers came to pass. So
I know.
I just think that's crazy. Like, that's so crazy.
As a patriarch, I'd just be like,
you need to do a whole episode on patriarchs. Wow.
That's so true. I should have one in here.
Crazy stuff is what that is.
Okay. Let's get into some demons and spirits.
I can't. Literally. Do we need to say prayer really quick?
Okay. This person says, my husband was called to serve in Peru from 2017 to 2019. In one of his areas, it was called the demon area. One night, a member called the bishop and had my husband and his companion over to give his son a blessing. The member's son was possessed, had dark eyes, creepy smile, all the things that would lead you to the conclusion that something was seriously wrong. Anyways, they started with the blessing, and the kid started thrashing, screaming so bad that the dad had to hold his son in the chair until they finished the blessing. Oh, he was shouting about everything my husband and his companion had done wrong in their lives.
Whoa.
I know, that's weird. And
That is crazy.
after they were done, the kid hopped out of the chair and was back to normal. My husband had to go to therapy for weeks after this experience. And
I'm going to need therapy after this. That's terrifying.
he was emergency transferred out of the area, and they eventually closed that area.
Yeah, if it's called the demon area, like, should have been closed a long time ago, it sounds like.
Like, one of the perks to not having the priesthood
If you want to talk about it.
is never having to deal with this.
No, 100%. Where was the mom? Didn't talk about the mom. That's so crazy. That's actually, like, that's when you hear stuff like I'm sure there's a lot of stuff like that out there that you just you don't talk about.
No, in Central and South America, I swear every missionary comes home with some kind of evil spirit story. And it's like, why? Why is it so prevalent there?
No, I don't know. Yeah, it just makes you wonder. Like,
scary.
Yeah, scary stuff is right. Oh, I can't. That's terrifying.
This one's kind of a long one, so we'll see if I can skip around. But she was in a trio. She says, Hermana A told me the first day that I met her that she could see spirits. One night, we were just finishing saying our companion prayers and we were getting into our beds when all of a sudden, we heard a loud noise come out of our closed window, and then our door, which was locked, slammed open and shut.
I hate that.
It sounded like something was banging on the window, and then someone ran out the door.
I hate that.
We all started freaking out. Hermana B started yelling, Hermana A, what's happening?
Literally, that would have been me too.
She said that nothing was wrong. We all calmed down and we eventually fell asleep. The next morning, we were on our walk to church, and Hermana A told us that she had actually seen someone.
I just passed away.
It was a tall, pale man come through the window. He stopped at my bed.
No!
And then continued to walk through the door. Hermana B started freaking out again, and I didn't know what to make of this. And she asked me, do you have a male relative that has recently passed away? I told her no. I did show her a picture of my great-grandpa from Family Search. After looking at the picture, she said, no, that's not him.
She's like, Hermana C, did you have anyone that passed away? That's terrifying.
She says she goes on to tell me that maybe it's my son. For the rest of the transfer together, I got teased by my companions about my son haunting us. Because according to Hermana A, he visited frequently.
I cannot.
She saw him several other times. Sometimes as a grown man, sometimes as a little boy.
Wait.
Sometimes he would walk next to me on the street. I'm still not sure, and I'm still not sure if I super believe her.
This is Sixth Sense. I can't.
She said, since returning home, I'm married and I have a beautiful daughter.
Crazy.
I mean, did you feel like you ever dealt with evil spirits or?
I never had anything, thank the heavens. I don't know if I could have handled that. That's so scary.
All right, let's see. Are there any more crazy ones, or should we just read some miracles now? Some good ones. Because that's the best part of your mission.
Wait, I have a funny story to tell about you.
Oh, no. What memory just came to you?
No, it's in the book. That's what I'm telling you. You got to keep a book of funny stories that happened to you on your mission, because those ones, you can remember a lot of the crap that happened, but I feel like to recall, like, the good, funny stories, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
So me and Sister Pitts were...
That was my name, you guys.
Yes, Sister Pitts. Me and Lauren were in the MTC together, and so it was 2.5 weeks back then. And while we were at the MTC, they, like, hounded us with our purpose, like memorizing our purpose. Do you remember that?
Of course.
I'm dying to know if you remember this story.
No, I have no idea where you're going with this story.
We leave the MTC and we get to Canada. It's the border, but it was like way more intense than just customs. Yeah, because we had visas, so they had to check our visas. Like, it was pretty intense. And there was like this row of like 3 or 4 people that were like checking us in, and they'd call us up one by one. And I remember I'm like towards the end, but you were like one of the first missionaries to get called up to this border patrol, whatever. And it was like indoors. It's not like the border patrol that you think of when you're like going to Mexico. It was like indoor, very professional. Like
you could go up to
and for some reason, the lady that you got literally had like this vendetta.
she was so rude.
So mean. I remember, so she just kept asking Lauren over and over, why are you here? Like,
and she didn't like my answers.
No, but it
every
was
time.
literally just like that. Like, why are you here? But like, what are you doing while you're here? Like, she was so rude. Like, she was not just doing her job. She was like being sassy.
Mm-hmm.
So she keeps asking Lauren. Lauren's like, we're here to serve the people of Vancouver for 18 months.
like,
And
so
she's
giddy.
like, but what are you doing here? Like, why are you here? And Lauren literally just kept giving her like answers. I'm here with my church as a service missionary. Like, we're volunteering here. Seriously goes on for like 3 minutes. All of a sudden, like, Lauren is fed up with this lady. And she goes, okay, but what are your intentions while you're here? Lauren gives it like a good solid 30 seconds of just dead silence, and all of a sudden goes, my purpose is to invite others to come into Christ by helping them receive the restored gospel through.
I 100% put the emphasis on all those words.
Died. I just died. I remember thinking, you go girl. Like, the fact that you memorized it after the 2.5 weeks of being
It's like,
hounded.
we are really missionaries.
No, literally. And all she does is looks at you with like just the most stone cold look, grabs your thing, like stamps it, and just like passes it back to you. Like, that was
remember.
like
It
you did
literally
it.
was,
That's what you
"Okay."
needed. Yeah, like literally, I died. I thought about that last night. I was like peeing my
forgot
pants
about that.
laughing. Just like the most greeny, like, we're
Yes.
here to serve people of Canada for like
And I
18
was trying to
months.
be so nice to her, but she really was hounding me. She kept
No.
asking me, I'm like, I don't know how else you want me to explain what I'm doing
literally.
here.
So all of a sudden, just my purpose is to invite others to come unto Christ. I was like, you go, girl.
I'm dead, guys.
It was so funny.
freaking funny.
I just had to share that before I left today, just to let
Thank
everyone
you.
know. You were so good.
Started my mission strong. It all went down from there.
No, shut up. Whatever. You were just running your whole mission.
Okay, so this first little miracle, he says that he was, where is he serving? I might have taken out the part where he tells me what mission he's
Not
in.
important. Just kidding.
But there was a typhoon coming.
Oh, scary.
And he says, I was out for about a year. I was training an elder from Tonga. We were told that a typhoon was going to hit our area, but it shouldn't be too bad. It ended up being equivalent to Hurricane Katrina.
Oh.
We were down in the storm, rain, wind, floods, all the stuff. My companion kept saying, we need to go check on this less active family. We need to go check on them. They lived really close to us. I kept telling him no because I didn't want to die in a typhoon.
Yeah,
Finally, he told me either he was going by himself or I was going to come with him. So we ended up running in the middle of a typhoon to this Los Actives family's house. The water was almost hitting my waist. And by the way, I'm 6'2".
Wow.
We ended up getting to their house right as the house collapsed because of the storm, and we were able to help them get to safety. It was kind of a crazy experience and actually brought them back to the church.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That's so awesome though.
I know.
I think like stories like that where it's just like goes against every natural instinct, like that just goes to show like God is just so in the details. I had a similar thing. We were driving in the car one day. It was me and my companion Michaela, Sister Paxton. We were driving in the car in like downtown Vancouver. It's like crazy, and we're driving on the road, and we were in a YSA ward, and we see like a YSA age girl walking the opposite direction of the way that we're driving. And Michaela goes, pull over. And I'm like, well, this is like, I can't just pull over. And she's like,
Like,
no,
you're in
like
the
pull
city.
over. And I was like, okay, well, let me like find a place to park. So I hurry and park. We run back to the street and we can't see this girl, this YSA girl, where she was walking anymore. Like she was gone. And all of a sudden, Michaela just takes off running in the complete opposite direction of the way that the girl was heading. And I was like, not like
Where are you
she's
going?
literally, yeah. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she just keeps yelling behind me, do you trust me? And I was like, I guess, like, I'm also out of shape, like,
I
slow
love
down.
that.
And she just kept yelling, do you trust me, do you trust me? She's seriously running, like, zigzag, I'm like, where are we actually going? And she ended up finding this girl, and totally, like, she became an investigator. Like,
That is so
after running
awesome.
for 5 minutes in a completely different direction. Not that I'm relating that to a
winded.
typhoon situation, but
No, the right
it's
place at the
same
right
there.
time.
And also, like, being willing to trust your companions, like, in those scenarios where it's like, if they're so passionate about it and it's a good cause, like,
Yeah.
trusting that the
God
Spirit's
doesn't
speaking
need to
them.
tell both of you.
No, that's a hard lesson to learn, though, sometimes.
And it's humbling sometimes,
Yes,
too.
yeah, that
where
it's
it's like,
coming to someone
okay,
else.
it came to my companion,
Yes,
and I'm going to
yeah.
respect this revelation.
But I think, like, taking that into, like, a marriage, that also can you know what I mean? It's a
yeah.
good lesson that you learn on your mission that can apply to, like, your marriage or
so
other
true.
relationships that you have in your life after. So
Yeah, I love that.
that's crazy, though. That's so cool that they came back after, too.
Okay, this one is, I like this one too. He says, I was around 16, my 16 mark on my mission. I was placed with a wonderful companion and we were in Lyon, France. It was 2019, the year the female U.S. soccer team won the World Cup.
Crazy.
We were in the city where the game itself was located. I had a family member who wanted me to pick up a jersey, so I thought we could go into the market and we could do some tracking there. My companion and I were very good at talking with anyone and everyone we ran into. But for some reason that day, we went through almost the entire market and we didn't really talk to anyone. It's funny because I hear that, I'm like, lazy? No, because this is going somewhere. He says, we went through the entire market without stopping anyone. Not normal for us. Once we arrived to the end, we stopped, looked at each other, and like Brigham Young in Utah said at the same time, this is the place.
This is the place, too.
We turned to look around and the first person we saw, we stopped. In French, I said, excuse us. In French,
She's like,
we said-
excuse-moi.
we said, we are missionaries of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Can we share a message with you? And he said, sorry, do you guys speak English? To our surprise, he was from Chicago.
Oh, my gosh, that's crazy.
He explained that he had been traveling the world and he had gotten a current job in Lyon. And he then said something that couldn't be anything but a miracle. He said, can I tell you guys something? This might sound weird, but I had a dream last night that I couldn't forget. I was in a Catholic cathedral and I felt like I didn't belong and had to get out. I started to pray to God that he would send someone to help me get me closer to Christ. Then I walked out of the church praying, and in my dream, I saw two guys with white shirts and ties show up, and then I woke up. He continues, I had this crazy drive to find and talk to those guys in the white shirts.
Gosh, wait, I just got like chills and I'm about
And
to
now
cry.
here you are.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually gonna
We gave
cry.
him a very brief explanation of the Book of Mormon. We set up a time to meet. They then taught him for weeks. This elder was transferred.
Oh my gosh.
The guy was there on a work visa and was sent back to America.
Oh my gosh.
And so he's like, sadly, I was transferred out. He
Yeah.
was sent back. And so like before he was baptized,
Yeah.
I knew that there wasn't any way for me to connect with him again.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the last transfer of my mission. We had an extra day at the mission president's house before we were sent home. We decided to go to the mall to get lunch. We ended up going to a great burger place. When I got in line to order, I received a hand on my shoulder.
No.
It was the man I taught months ago.
Oh my gosh.
He was able to come back to France with his renewed visa and had what just happened to come to this spot for food.
Oh my gosh.
I was brought to tears meeting with him again. I gave him a huge hug and sat down with him. He shares that he had not been baptized yet, but he had gone home. He had read the Book of Mormon almost every day and was sharing the gospel with his family.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
And just
Stuff like that. When it's
and it
just-
happens all the time.
I know. It reminds me, I was reading through our journals last night, the journal I sent home, of the story that Elder Holland told when he came to our mission. Do you remember it?
See, this is why I need to read. I should have read my journal in
No, you're
preparation for
fine.
this
No,
episode.
I have it if you want me to read it. It's really fast.
Yes, read it,
Okay.
please. Yeah, Elder Holland visited our mission, and that was so awesome.
Yeah, that, like, seriously, we are very blessed
Do you remember, though,
that happened.
that when he got up there, so first he asked every single one of us to come shake his hand and
Yes.
tell us our names and where we're from.
Wait, you got asked to do something, didn't you?
No.
Oh, okay,
So he's
what?
like, he says, I'm going to have a mini interview with each one of you right now. And he,
Oh, that's right.
he asked every single one of us to come up, shake his hand.
Yes, that's right.
Then he gets up after doing that, and he
Uh-huh.
goes, this is an incredible mission.
Yeah.
There's only a few of you that I'm worried about.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Like, seriously, is it me?
I'm like,
Is it me?
you
Yeah.
really just called out.
No, and when she says mini interview, the interview was just simply shaking the hand and making eye contact
and saying, hi, my name is Sister
Yeah,
Pitts, and I'm
yes.
from Oklahoma.
Literally.
Yeah.
That was no, you're so right.
I just remember that and being like, okay.
Scared to death.
Scared.
Is it me? It's me, isn't it? Just tell me
No,
if it's
I'm
me.
probably the worst because
Not
I'm like,
even.
oh, you're talking about her.
No. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I would be worried too. Just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
That is so good.
Okay, but
Okay,
he was wonderful. What did he share with
Okay,
us?
so here's the story he said. So he said, this is exactly as he said it. So he said, there once was a boy in his young adult years living in Idaho. He didn't get along with his parents, got in an argument, decided to leave home, got on his motorcycle, drove all the way to New York. His parents knew he was spiritually dead, and after a long time of not hearing from him or seeing him, figured he was physically dead as well. He ended up getting into all sorts of troubles, had tattoos on just about every square inch of his body, was into drugs and drinking, hit rock bottom in New York, and decided to motorcycle all the way to California. Here he bought an old house, decided he was never going to talk to anyone ever again. So he bought 2 Rottweilers and then built a fence around his house and put these 2 Rottweilers on chains that reached just long enough to the gate. Anytime anyone would walk by this fence, the 2 Rottweilers would run all the way to the end of their chains, ready to eat anything that stepped close enough. And so was the case on a day where 2 young elder missionaries were walking by the street. The man who owned the house was camped out on a rocking chair in the front, watching as the 2 elders walked by completely unfazed by the dogs. They turned the corner and were out of sight. Not 2 minutes later, the elders walked back to the fence and opened up the gate. They whispered something to the dogs, and the dogs quit barking and calmly walked back to their place at the porch. The elders walked up to the man and said, "We figured that you never got much company, so we decided to come back and share a message with you." They started making small talk with the man, and the man noticed one of the elders' last names. He asked the elder where he is from, and the elder told him he was from Idaho. The man told the elder that he knew some people with that last name who lived in Idaho. Sorry, with that last name who lived in Idaho, and asked him if he knew him. The elder said, "Yes, I know him. That's my father. How do you know him?" And the man replied back, "That's my father too." The elder that had met him had been the young man who left his home in Idaho's little brother. That same man ended up getting sealed in the temple to his wife, with his little brother as the witness at that sealing. And then Elder Holland said, "Do you even understand the loopholes and rings that God has to go through to make miracles happen in our lives? He is in every single detail. Think about how much had to go into making this whole situation happen." So just like that, you see and hear a lot of it on your mission, but it really is like you'll get called to exactly the place that you're supposed to be, and unfortunately you don't see a lot of like the fruit come to pass of like the service that you give in that area, but God sent you to a specific place, and he's gonna, like it says, like jump through so many loopholes to make sure that it happens, like the details. Yeah,
It just
so
gave me the
cool.
chills. Like,
Yeah.
he's in every detail of our
and
life.
he knows you so specifically, and like being from Chicago in France and saying this is the place, and literally meeting someone
I know.
that's so like it's silly, because I would hate to say, like, I hate to admit this to myself, but so much of like the miracles and the testimony that I gained on my mission, I know is the foundation for the rest of my life, and like the testimony that I'll always come back to. And
So true.
I will build off of it and continue to build off of it, but I just can't forget the miracles I saw. And that's why I think like my biggest advice to people who are serving, either currently or preparing, is you better find a way to journal, whether it's writing it or emailing it or voice recording it. Like, remember, like, because when you get home, you will forget. You will forget. Like, and it's no fault of your own. It's just the way life goes. Like, remembering and forgetting things is part of the process, but I am so grateful that like I have written down the miracles, and that I choose to like review the things for my mission often, because it reminds me of why I stay, and like like that God is there, and that he's just as aware of me now as he was while I was not serving as a missionary. So yeah, I think it's good to journal.
No, it's a good reminder for me to go back and look through
Lauren,
those things.
that's why I'm me rebuking you. Just kidding.
And it's so true. Like, I would say that's why I would not trade my mission experience for the world.
No.
Because it is the foundation of my relationship with Jesus Christ.
Like, I think everyone can have that. Like, you need to figure out, like, if you're not going to serve a mission, I think that's your decision, and that's
and
I'm
you can
not faulting
find that
you for
relationship in
yes,
another
and
way.
I think that's what I like. Yeah, that's what I want people to know is, luckily for me, this is how I found it, my relationship with Christ, and coming to understand him. Like, it really was my walk with him for 18 months. But you need to figure out how to have have that. And if you pray for it, God will give it to you. You know what I mean? If you want that special connection to him and to know like that this church is true, if you're praying for it, you'll get it. You know what I mean? And it won't just come overnight, but it'll come over the span of, I'm sure, lots of little experiences, kind of like it does on your mission.
For all of us, yeah. I mean, even like, we have big miracle moments. Where you're like, I was in the right place at the right time today. But it's just in the fact that I represented Jesus Christ and I taught his gospel for so long that I just developed such an understanding and like I experienced it personally in my life just as much as I watched it change the lives of everyone that we taught. Like it changes lives.
It does.
And it's the best.
And being told for the full 18 months to 2 years, like, you're wrong, like what you believe is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I'm grateful for the resistance that I had on my mission, because coming home you get the same resistance, you know what I mean, from friends and family or people that you don't know. I mean, you know for sure how much resistance you get in the church, just people telling you that you're wrong. And so that's why like having those core experiences, spiritual experiences that you yourself created and had with just you and your Savior are so important to hold on to. So
and it's like that's what's holding me even now too, like with the experiences that I'm having now as a mother. And it's just like it was a really fast way to learn it on my mission, but now I'm having to exercise it even more now.
Very true.
Anyways, we could honestly stop there. There's so many good stories. I just want everyone to know that I love my mission and that it was the best. And there are ups and downs and there are trials and hard companions and mental illnesses, and it's all there. It all happens. But at the same time, like, that's why I came to know Jesus Christ.
100%. I'm the exact same way. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And something, not to tie it back to Elder Holland again, but something that he said, like, while we were there too, was I remember him getting like so emotional, like choked up in his Elder Holland, like so serious. But he said, I want you to serve your mission in a way that you can look your children in the eyes when they come to you and ask, Mom, Dad, like, should I serve a mission? Like, why did you go? He said, I want you to serve your mission in a way that you can look in them and say, like, my mission meant absolutely everything to me. And like, I truly feel that, like, my mission, like as silly and stupid as it sounds, like, quite literally saved me. Like, I feel so grateful for the experiences that I had, the testimony that I got. Obviously, like, something that we didn't touch on today is just the people, not even like that you meet companion-wise, but the people that are in your mission, like, members. Changed my life, showed me this is what it is to be a member of this church and how to help build the kingdom and how to be a missionary. This is what it can look like when you get home from your mission, how to be a good missionary and how to continue to be a missionary through the rest of your life. Like, I feel so grateful. Like, as silly as it sounds, it was like my spiritual awakening, like, to the gospel and realizing how lucky we are to have this knowledge. And I'm just, so grateful and feel we are so blessed. We have such good missions.
We're very fortunate.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. If you are considering serving a mission, I hope this doesn't push you away from it, but towards it.
The naked men.
The erections and
all the things.
It is there. It's all part of it, but I promise you'll find Christ.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see you guys next week. And honestly, I'm going to have to do a part 2 because there's so many stories.
So good stories.
Come back. We'll do part 2 with another guest. Bye.